AITA for telling my sister her wedding dress choice was inappropriate, even though it hurt her feelings? So, here's the long story. My sister, let's call her Emily, and I have always had a complicated relationship. We're 6 years apart, and while we were close growing up, we've drifted apart over the years due to different life choices, geographic distance, and just clashing personalities. She's always been a bit dramatic, and I tend to be more blunt and straightforward. Despite all that, I was genuinely happy when she got engaged last year and asked me to be her maid of honor. Now, Emily is getting married in about 6 months. The wedding planning has been tense, to say the least. She's very particular about everything and has this very specific vision of how her day should go, which I'm mostly respected, but sometimes it felt like she was more controlling than celebratory. The biggest tension came when she chose her wedding dress. Emily wanted something unconventional. I'm not talking about just a unique style or color, but something that I found outright inappropriate for a wedding dress. It was a tight, very short, bright red dress made of what looked like vinyl or leather. It had a plunging neckline and was basically more of a club outfit than bridal wear. She insisted that it was edgy and modern and would make a statement. She said she wanted to break away from traditional white wedding dresses because she never liked the idea of blending in or being predictable. Now, I get wanting to do your own thing, but I have to be honest, I was shocked and concerned. I know a wedding dress is about personal expression, but also about tradition and respect for the ceremony and the people attending. This dress seemed like it was going to steal the show in a way that felt disrespectful to the seriousness of the occasion. My fiancé and I have gone to many weddings, and I honestly couldn't imagine seeing the bride walk down the aisle looking like she was going to a nightclub rather than getting married. When Emily first showed me the dress, I was polite but expressed my honest opinion. I told her I thought it was too revealing and that it might make some family members uncomfortable, especially our conservative grandparents who were flying in from overseas. I also said that it didn't feel like a wedding dress to me and that it might overshadow the ceremony. I tried to phrase it gently, but I didn't sugarcoat it because I felt like it was important she heard a real perspective. Emily's reaction was immediate and defensive. She told me I was being judgmental and old-fashioned. She said it was her day and she would wear whatever she wanted, and that if I didn't like it, I could step down as maid of honor. She was visibly upset and said I didn't support her vision. After that, things got awkward. I thought maybe I overstepped, but at the same time, I felt like I was just being honest as her sister. Over the next few weeks, I kept my distance and didn't bring up the dress again. The rest of the wedding planning continued with its usual tension, but I tried to stay supportive. Fast forward to last weekend, Emily invited me and a few close friends to a dress rehearsal, where she was going to show off the dress and have photos taken. When she put it on, I was stunned all over again. It was even more striking in person, bright red, skin-tight, with a deep neckline and a very short hemline that barely covered her thighs. The material was shiny and unforgiving. She looked confident, but honestly like she was dressed for a party, not a wedding. The moment she twirled around and asked what I thought, I felt a mix of frustration and concern. I told her bluntly, "Emily, this dress is inappropriate for a wedding. It's too revealing and doesn't look like something a bride should wear walking down the aisle. I'm really worried about how people will react, especially the family." Emily's face fell, and she said, "I thought you were supposed to support me? I'm so tired of you always criticizing me. If you can't be happy for me on my wedding day, maybe you shouldn't be part of it." The tension exploded after that. I tried to explain that it wasn't about not supporting her, but about respect for the event and the people attending. She accused me of trying to control her and making the day about me instead of her. Our parents got involved, and now the whole family is divided. Some agree with me that the dress is over the top and inappropriate, while others think Emily should be able to wear whatever she wants. Since then, Emily has mostly stopped talking to me, and she's told my parents she feels betrayed. I feel awful that I hurt her, but I honestly believe I was being honest and looking out for the bigger picture. I didn't say she had to change the dress, but I did say I thought it was a mistake and would cause problems. So, Reddit, AITA for telling my sister her wedding dress was inappropriate, even though it hurt her feelings and caused family drama? Or should I have just kept my mouth shut and let her do whatever she wanted without commenting? I'm torn because I wanted to be honest, but I also didn't want to damage our relationship right before her big day. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to host my sister's wedding after she completely disregarded my boundaries and my home. I, 32F, have always had a close relationship with my sister, 28F, but over the last year, things have gotten really tense, and now I'm wondering if I'm actually the asshole in this situation. Some background. I live in a medium-sized city in a decent apartment I've worked hard for, and I love hosting events here. Small gatherings, birthday parties, etc. I've always been the go-to for family get-togethers because I'm known for being organized and having a comfortable space. I'm an introvert, but love making things special for people when I'm in hosting mode. My sister got engaged about 6 months ago to her fiancé, who I'll call Dan. Dan is nice enough, but I'm not super close with him. He's from out of state, and my sister moved closer to me after the engagement. From the start, my sister talked about having a small, intimate wedding. She wanted it at my place, saying it would be more meaningful and personal. And I agreed because, honestly, I thought it would be nice to be involved and help. Now here's where the problem started. When she first mentioned the wedding, she said about 20 people would come, mostly family and close friends. I was fine with that. I told her she could use my apartment, but that we need to keep it manageable because of space constraints and noise rules in the building. She assured me she understood. Over the next couple of months, I noticed she wasn't really including me in the planning despite saying she wanted it at my place. I kept asking about details, timing, catering, decoration plans, but she kept brushing me off with vague answers, saying she was too busy or that Dan was handling it. Then, 2 weeks before the wedding, I found out from a family group chat, not from her, that the guest list had ballooned to 50 people. I was shocked because my apartment is barely enough for 20 comfortably, and I'd never agreed to that many. Plus, I have neighbors on all sides who are quite strict about noise and gatherings, especially on weekends. I messaged her privately, explaining that 50 people in my apartment was impossible without breaking rules and likely upsetting neighbors, and that I needed her to reduce the guest list or find another venue. She blew up at me, saying I was being controlling and that she was only borrowing my place, not hosting. She said I was making things difficult for no reason and that she had already arranged catering and a DJ for the party, so there was no turning back. At this point, I was stressed out. I felt like she had ignored my boundaries completely and planned a huge event in my home without my consent. I told her I couldn't host the wedding anymore under these conditions. She responded by saying she'd just go ahead and have the wedding at my place anyway, since I had agreed, and it was my responsibility to accommodate her. She also started telling other family members that I was being difficult and ruining her special day, which made me feel isolated and unfairly judged. I ended up telling her I wouldn't be present for the wedding and that she should find another venue. She went ahead and threw the wedding in my apartment without my permission, and I stayed away that day. The aftermath was messy. Some family members sided with her, others with me. My neighbors complained about the noise, and I got fined by the building management because they assumed I had approved the event. Now, a couple of weeks later, my sister is avoiding me and says I ruined her wedding and that I'm selfish for not supporting her. I feel like she crossed a huge boundary and disrespected me in my home. I also feel blindsided and hurt by how she handled everything. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to host my sister's wedding after she ignored my limits and planned a large event in my home without my consent? Or was I right to say no, given the circumstances? AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé move into my house after their breakup? This all started about 2 years ago when my 32F sister, 28F, got engaged to her boyfriend, Matt, 30M. They had been dating for about 5 years at that point, and I was honestly happy for them. Matt seemed like a nice guy, and I was excited to have a future brother-in-law. We're a close-knit family, and I've always been pretty protective of my sister, but I like Matt well enough. Here's the thing. I own a decent-sized house in a medium-sized city. I bought it a few years ago after saving up for my job, and I've been living alone since then. It's a comfortable place, and I've put a lot of effort into making it feel like home. I work remotely, so I spend a lot of time here, and I'm generally pretty private about my space. About a year ago, my sister and Matt started talking about moving in together to save money while planning their wedding. They were looking for places, but were struggling to find something affordable that had the space they wanted. That's when they asked me if Matt could move in with me temporarily until they found a place of their own. I hesitated, but ultimately said yes, on the condition that it was only temporary and that Matt would respect my space and boundaries. I made it clear that I was okay with him staying as a guest, but that I wanted to keep the house as my sanctuary, especially since I work from home. At first, it seemed to go fine. Matt was respectful of the house and my work schedule. My sister would visit often, and everything felt normal. But as time went on, things started to change. Matt began treating the house like his own. He started leaving his stuff everywhere, inviting friends over without asking me, and generally acting like he lived there permanently. I tried to bring this up with him and my sister separately, but they brushed it off, saying I was being too rigid and that it was just temporary. Then, about 6 months ago, my sister and Matt broke up. It was messy, and I was caught in the middle because my sister was upset and kept venting to me. I tried to be supportive, but I also had my own life and work to focus on. A week after their breakup, Matt told me he didn't have anywhere else to go right now and asked if he could stay at my house until he figured something out. I was shocked. This was supposed to be temporary while they found a place together, and now he wanted to stay alone indefinitely? I told him no. I explained that the house was my space, and while I had been okay with him staying temporarily, this wasn't fair to me. He argued that he had nowhere else to go and that he was in a tough spot, but I told him he needed to make other arrangements. Matt then went to my sister and tried to convince her to talk me into letting him stay. My sister, still upset about the breakup but wanting to help, asked me again. I stuck to my guns. This caused a rift between me and my sister. She accused me of being cold and unsupportive, especially since she felt Matt was still struggling. My parents got involved, saying I should be more understanding and that family helps family. I told them I understood that, but it was my house and my boundaries. Matt ended up staying at a friend's place, but the damage to my relationship with my sister lingered. She's been distant and resentful, and I feel guilty sometimes. But I also feel like I did nothing wrong by setting boundaries in my own home. Recently, my sister confronted me again, saying I should have at least let Matt stay for a short while, given their history and how hard the breakup was. She said I was being selfish and that family is supposed to support each other during tough times. I still don't think I was wrong. It's not like I kicked him out immediately. I gave him a week to find somewhere else. But I also have the right to feel comfortable and safe in my own home. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to let my sister's ex-fiancé stay in my house after their breakup?